Hey, MCE crew. I had a young man call me here recently, just the other day, and he asked me a question, and I was so glad he called. He said, "How do I get started investing?" He said he wanted to get his money working for him, and this is a young guy. And so, we had a conversation about that, and I wanted to come at you all with a video on exactly what I think that people should do if they don't have a lot of money or just starting out in life. God knows, when I was just starting out in life, I didn't have a lot of money at all to put away, but I was able to do it, okay? But it wasn't a tremendous amount, but you can still get it done. So we're going to talk about some ways that individuals who don't have a lot of money, either they're young or maybe they're older, okay, and they've never invested before. I ran into an individual like that, early 60s. This guy said, "You know what? I don't have a lot of money to invest. I've never invested before, but I do recognize the importance of getting my money working for me. Is it too late?" I told this individual, I said, "No, it's never too late." Now, the reason why I say it's never too late is because, look, you're in your early 60s. You'll probably at least live another 20 years. That's a long time when you're talking about helping money, having money grow, and work for you. And I told this person, I said, "Do you have family that you could see yourself leaving a financial legacy to?" And he said, "Of course." I said, "Well, even if you don't get an opportunity to use this money, would that legacy, would that be something that's very important for you to do?" He said, "Yes, absolutely." So I said, there you go. That's a reason right there for you to, invest your money if that's important to you, leaving that financial legacy. So let's get started. And we showed him some ways to do it. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some ways that you need to, if you only have a limited amount of money. And again, I'm talking to those folks that are just starting out mainly, or maybe they're on more of a wage income where the wage is not as high as they would like it to be. They're working toward building their income, but at the same time, they want to make the money get out there and work for them. So here we go. Number one. And this, again, might take you a few pay cycles, but if you've identified somewhere in your compensation where you are able to put away, let's say $50 a paycheck, okay? If you're able to do that, then you need to first see if your company has some type of qualified plan, like a 401k, where if you contribute, you get a match and you get some tax deductions. We talked about this before. You need to check into that. Now, simultaneously, you also need to have your mind set on building an emergency fund that is liquid. Okay, well, let's call it an opportunity fund. I'll talk about why in a second, because words are important. But if you're contributing to that qualified plan that your job offers, especially if they match, okay, that's like getting free money. So you want to put some money away, and from that standpoint, take advantage of those tax advantages, lowering your taxable income and possibly getting a match. Check with your HR department and see if that's the case, if you can take advantage of something like that. And if you can, then you certainly should get with the administrator of that plan and talk to them about exactly what's available for you to put your money in. Now, let me caution you. A lot of times, these plans, like at the company I used to work at, I used to work for Verizon, big company, and they offered a very generous match when you put your money into the 401k. But they would match in their stock. Okay, fine. All that meant was I wasn't going out and investing any more in Verizon stock, because in effect, I was already investing in it by virtue of their match. So you have to, ask these questions. If they're matching, what are they matching in? Okay. And you might want to think about diversifying a little if they're matching in company stock. But talk with the plan administrator about all of those things. They probably have some get started type of platform that they can take you through on that. Now, the opportunity fund. And why am I calling it an opportunity fund instead of an emergency fund? Because You got to understand that in the beginning, when you're not making a lot of money, you're just starting out in life. Sure, this might start out as a fund to defray costs associated with emergencies, like a flat tire. I've been through that kind of stuff. I had this old car that had nothing but problems, but I couldn't afford a new one. And I had a 50-mile commute to back and forth to work when I first started out. Okay. And from time to time, the car would need things. So I know those things happen. And you have to be able to address those things without resorting to high interest credit. Okay. Because that's going to dig a hole for you and put you in this perpetual cycle where you're trying like hell to pay off that debt. Now, there's nothing wrong with using a credit card if you have discipline, okay, and understand that it needs to be paid off within the 30-day cycle, or they're going to charge you interest, and whatever the hell you bought is going to end up being more expensive, okay? So you need to take that into account. But if you're building that emergency fund, maybe that amount of money that you have allocated that you can put to work for you, maybe you're putting 50% of that into your 401k or 457 plan, depending on what qualified plan you have, or your IRA, and maybe you're putting the other half into your emergency fund. Again, we're just trying to build momentum here. As your financial situation changes, of course, your strategy will change, right? Now, the young man asked me, we had a long conversation, and the young man asked me, well, what about stocks? And look, stocks are a good way to get started, really getting your money working for you. So there are risks, okay, associated with stocks. A lot of people are learning that right now. Stocks go up, then they go down. So again, money changes everything. We're all about long-term investing, okay? We're not traders here. So we're not looking to go in and watch a stock every single day of the week. We're about investing in quality companies after doing due diligence and fundamental analysis in order to understand, what we're getting ourselves into. So after all that is said and done, I did explain to this young man that even if you don't have a lot of money, you can still invest in anything on the S&P 500 as a fractional share. So if you've got a share of stock that's trading for like, let's say a Tesla, which is up in the, almost, what was it? I don't invest in Tesla, so I don't know. But Tesla is probably up near $1,000. And if you've got a stock like that, but it's also on the S&P 500, you can buy a fractional share. Tesla right now is trading at $860. So a lot of people are going to look at that and say, wow, I'd love to invest in that stock, but I don't have $860 to invest in one stock, especially if you're just starting out, right? Thank God. Today, what they have is fractional investing, where you can, some platforms allow you to invest as little as $5 to buy a little piece of Tesla. And I don't care how little that piece is, it still makes you an owner of that company. And that is powerful. And you can add to that over time. Now, we'll say this. If you're putting money into a stock, what you want to do is you want to have the mindset that this money is going to, appreciate over time. If it's a stock that pays a dividend, you want to reinvest those dividends, because when you do that, that dividend will buy more shares of that stock. Okay, so reinvest your dividends. Don't take. What are you going to do with the money? Okay, you are building. So go ahead and have that dividend reinvested. That's beautiful. If you've got a company that's willing to pay you for owning their stock, you should buy more stock with it. All things being equal, provided you've done your due diligence. And look, you can't do due diligence once. All right. You've got to make that a process that you engage in on the shares that you own at least twice a year. Okay. You own the company. You don't manage it. So you can't walk into Tesla headquarters, the day after you buy it and start telling them, they need to produce the cars in various different colors that you like. You can't do that. It's not management. It's ownership. You don't want to manage it. You want to sit on a beach eventually someday and, have your money working for you and sipping pina coladas. But fractional shares are another way that you can get in on getting your money working for you. Now, here's another way that you need to consider to get your money working for you. If you got debt, A lot of these young people out here have student debt. This particular young man does not. However, I know a lot of people do. And I know old Joe Biden, on the campaign trail, he said he was going to look at that student loan forgiveness. But you got to understand, that was just to get him elected, okay? It wasn't real, guys. Come on. I just had to get into the White House and get the 747. You didn't really expect me to do that, right? So you got to pay your student loan debt. So if you have an allotment of money, you might think about how to put a little bit more on the principal of that debt. Check with the loan provider. Make sure there are no prepayment penalties or anything like that, and that they will accept you paying off that loan sooner, if you can do that, okay? Lowering that debt, because as soon as you eliminate that debt, you are free. You are financially, you've got your manumission papers, and you've left that debt plantation, okay? So always try to focus on keeping your debt as low as possible. Now, debt, understand this, debt is not necessarily a bad thing. If you've got mortgage debt, typically if you bought a house in the past few years here, you got pretty low, a low interest rate. And you've got a debt that enables you to keep a roof over your head. And you're inside of this structure that may be appreciating in value, depending on where it's located, okay? You've got a debt that gives you the ability, if you have decent credit, to tap in to that appreciation and take money out. You've got a debt that allows you to sell this property and possibly, get a premium where you can go and buy another property or, use leverage in that way. So those are a few ways that you can go and take $100 and put it to work for you today. Okay, doesn't take a lot of money at all to get started. Don't let the fact that the amount is small discourage you. I will tell you this and let you go about fractional shares. I wish they'd had that when I started investing. Back when I started investing, the first stock I purchased was a company called Wisconsin Energy. And one of the reasons why I purchased that stock was because you could buy it directly from the company and you could buy as little as one share. Back when I started investing, unless you bought directly through the company itself, you had to buy multiple shares if you went through a broker. And some people might be wondering, well, why hasn't Tyrone mentioned mutual funds? Because a lot of times mutual funds have a minimum investment that's more than $100. Now, if you find, and again, do your due diligence, an index fund, a mutual fund that you can get in on, and for less than that, then entertain it, certainly. But that's basically how you can get started investing with as little as $100. Really, as little as $5 if you look at the fractional share. Do your research on that. There are several brokerages that let you get in on a lot of the big stocks for as little as $5. Always do your due diligence. I'll talk to you soon. To learn more about how you can achieve financial independence, check out these videos we recently posted on the Money Changes Everything channel.